Kimber and I are heading down to the range to put up a new trail camera. With all the rain and the significant winds, we'll also be checking out for any problems with the trails or any other down trees that may be blocking things. The heavy rains did raise the level of the small pond, and as you can see, the water is fairly muddy at this point from all the runoff. Water is still draining out through the overflow pipe right up here. This trail leads down to the creek and our shooting range. This is one spot on the property that is fairly level for over 100 yards. That makes it good for sighting in rifles as well as muzzle loaders. Most of it sits on a small island where the creek forks to the right, and there are two small streams that split off to the left before they rejoin the main creek. The utility company that maintains the power lines on the easement running the length of the southern border of our property widened this part of the trail so that they could get heavy equipment down to the range. This is the area where they had a utility pole that had some cable damage. The heavy rains can at times flood that entire island area, and the rapid water will erode the area around the island too. They had to move the poles a little bit further north since the cables that were supporting it were in the area eroding off to the south. Although this trail is not one of the steepest on the property, it still has a significant grade and can be a challenge when it gets a little bit wet or when it's frozen. I managed to get my pickup truck stuck just about this point last year, and as luck would have it, the solenoid on the winch gave out and I had to be towed back up the rest of the trail period. My neighbor had to use his heavier tractor since this was a job a little bit too much for the L3301. You can see the creek to the right. It is a bit sloppy at the bottom from the rain, but the creek level is back down to pretty much normal level. The second tiny stream eroded a little bit more of the trail going up to the island. The small pool of water is a little deeper than it looks when you see it coming up on the left side. A couple weeks ago, I almost rolled the new XP when the rear wheel went into that small little pool. Today I'm staying a little bit further to the right side so that wheel doesn't fall back into that pool. I'll fix that when I bring the tractor down to brush hog all the overgrowth of the weeds so that we might be able to restore this to how it looked when we were using it to sight in.
told you guys. That's so loud as hell.
That's so loud as hell. I didn't have my ears in. I didn't have my ears in. That shit hurt. That shit hurt.
Yes, Ruben, I did throw you under the bus for not wearing your hearing protection. I'm gonna put that new camera just past those plinking bottles on the pole on the south side, the one to the left. The new camera is mounted. It's pointed so that we'll be able to watch this portion of the trail right here. We're going to be heading back up the trail so that we can swing by cabin, check to see if there's any tree damage or any other wind damage from the recent storms. It is a little bit sloppy still here. You can see an old green chair on the right. That has been there and was dropped by tornado winds. A few years back, we had tornadoes to the west of us that managed to deposit all sorts of debris throughout the property. That ranged from insulation, yard furniture, and clothing. We even had areas of building siding that were scattered. You can see that there's still a little bit of water trickling through that overflow pipe on the left. No new downed trees heading back to Cabin Circle. Months ago, we did have a tree that just barely missed the outhouse. We still need to get rid of some of those branches that are laying next to it. Also still need to go ahead and cut up that other tree that landed just to the south of the shelter. No problems with the cabin. No problem with the old kennels that are still there. Heading back to the barn, you can see the turnoff to the old logging road that goes off to the right. That leads over to the neighbor's property. I will need to get rid of that cedar tree on the left before the roots get big enough to do any damage to the pond dam. Back up to the barn, and we'll need to swap out an SD card in that camera that is focusing on the fire pit, which you can see right up here to the left side.